Judging by the size of this subject, I'm not really sure I can even call this macro photography. But when some things slow you down and pull you in, does it really matter how small it is? Most people think macrophotography is all about the tiniest things. Insect eyes, dust particles, water droplets, and for a while I did too. But lately I've been more interested in something else. Not how small a subject is, but whether it grabs my attention long enough to stop. So today I'm in the forest with my camera, some flexible LED lights, a tripod, and no real plan. Just a question. What happens when I stop chasing the smallest possible subject and think a little bigger? All right, so I didn't start playing with artificial lighting yet, but I want to show you a quick trick here. If you put your hand on either side of your subject, in this case it's going to be the left side, and block some natural lighting, it's going to help you create a more 3D effect, should I say, and create more depth in your image. So sometimes, instead of adding up light, it can be also interesting removing some. After taking a quick test shot using natural light only, I decided to build on it with a few small light adjustments. The first light was placed to create separation between the stem and the background, just enough to pull the subject forward without overpowering it. The second light was aimed more directly at the top of the flower, same angle but slightly different purpose. I just wanted the texture to lift off the scene a little bit more. Then I added an orange tinted light in the back just to warm up the scene a little bit. And working with something a little bigger gave me more space to shape the light more intentionally and, in my opinion, build a stronger image. All right, so I'm ready to take the shot, but first, I receive a lot of questions, people asking about focus stacking. And the most common question is, how do you know how many shots you need in a particular stack? And this question is kind of hard to answer, but I'll do my best. Basically, it depends on three things, maybe four, but let's go with the obvious. First, the aperture. So the smaller your aperture, the bigger depth of field you're gonna have, so the less shot you'll need to take. Second, it's going to be the size of your subject. If you're taking a photo, let's say, of a mushroom with a big cap, you're gonna need probably a lot more shots to cover the whole subject. And the third thing is, how close are you from your subject? So basically, the closer you are from your subject, the more shots you're gonna need. If your camera has that feature, I think it's really cool. You just punch the loop icon, I think you call it in English, and then you're gonna be able to fine-tune your focus before taking the shot. Always use a 2-second or a 10-second timer when you're doing stacks, because even just spreading the shutter is gonna create vibrations and you're not gonna get any sharp image. So please let me know in the comment which of those two shots you prefer, because I'm gonna show you one with natural lighting only too. I'll show you the final image in just a second, but don't go anywhere. This was just the first stop, and we're heading deeper into the forest to see what else shows up. That first shot reminded me how much easier it is to shape the light and build a scene when the subject gives you a little more space to work with. I'm still moving slowly through the forest, just keeping my eyes open for something that feels right. And again, I'm not looking for the tiniest things I can find, just something that grabs my attention enough to build around. I think I just found my next subject, this small plant right here. I think I'm going to take the shot from above because I really do love the texture and the foliage. Yep, I'm going to mess up with some lighting now. When I'm not sure how I want to shoot something, I often start handheld, just moving around to feel the best camera angles. Once I see what I like, I then bring the tripod in and build the shot from there. In this case, I had to flip the center column of my tripod to get a little lower and line things up from above. I've been struggling a little bit with this one. I'm not sure the background is that interesting. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put some steel wool. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna create specular highlight that probably gonna give it a little bit more pop to the background. So one thing I've learned working with larger subjects like this one is you pay attention a lot more to composition, because it's not about how close you can get to your subject, but how can you place the elements in your scene, you know, to draw the attention to the subject. To bring a little more depth to the background, I added a few strands of steel wool just behind the subject, nothing too structured, just enough to catch a little light and create some texture. It's a simple trick, but one that can really add atmosphere to an otherwise flat background. Then I grabbed my flexible LEDs to shape the lighting around the top of the plant, starting with a soft fill to bring out the contours and gradually building up with more directional light for contrast. Once everything felt balanced, I opened the app on my phone to fine-tune both the intensity and the color in real time, so I could dial in the mood without even touching the lights. Alright, so as you can see, I got a little bit crazy with this one. Put some steel wool in the background. I got excited and I started putting some green lights, some blue lights. I'm not sure about the result yet, but I think I really do love the composition. I took 2 shots, one before setting up all the lighting, and I'm gonna show them side by side. Let me know in the comment which one you prefer and why. Before taking the shot, I focused on the closest part of the subject to the lens and used a 2-second timer to avoid any camera shake. The final image is a blend of about 20 shots focus stacked in post. And for the upcoming setup, I'll be comparing different apertures to see how they affect the background, so stick around, the walk is not done yet. Now this one surprised me a bit. It's not a dramatic subject, but the colors and texture came together better than I expected. I'm really curious about what you think. Does it feel too designed or just enough? At this point, I'm not really thinking about size anymore. I'm just scanning for something that feels right, something I can connect with. All right, look at this one. This one is really interesting. I love the shape, and I'm sure I'm going to be able to reveal a lot of texture with these lights. So I'm going to set up. I think I'm going to do an interesting composition here. At least I hope so. Again, it's easier to move around handheld first just to get a feel for the composition. And once it works, use the tripod to make everything locked in. I think I like this composition right here. Something like that. I love that the background is going to be that dark brown. So I think the subject is going to be able to stand out a lot. And I kind of do like the green patch of moss here, kind of leading the eye into the shot here. And obviously the shape of this subject is what's going to make the shot. I'm going to take 30 images and focus tag them in post-processing, but here I'm going to show you 2 to 3 different images, and the only thing I'm going to change is the aperture. I'll show you a stack of 30 images at f2.8, another one at f5.6, and another one at f11, and I'll put them side by side, and please let me know which one you prefer and tell me why again. As you'll see, the aperture doesn't just affect depth of field. It can change the mood, the softness, and the way the background melts around your subject. The next subject after this shot is definitely one of my favorite shots of the day, so stick around for that. But right now, I'd love to know which aperture you'd choose for this one. As I continued walking, I spotted a group of wild ferns. I crouched in close, felt the texture, and knew this was the final shot of the day. The ferns were tall, wild, and layered in a way that really caught my attention. They didn't look like the edible kind, at least not the fiddleheads we're used to seeing around here. I'm honestly not sure about the species, but if you know what they are, I'd love to hear it in the comment. I then put my bag down, opened it up, and slowly took out my camera. Here, I use my dust blower to clean the lens, and for me, that's just part of the routine that helps me slow down and reset before seeing the next shot. Then, I locked the tripod in firmly, mounted the camera, and started exploring the scene handheld to find the right composition. I then placed a small piece of wood in the foreground just to help frame the shot and guide the eyes towards the subject. Once that felt balanced, I pulled out the lights I was going to need. So now I brought all the lights I'm going to need to lit this shot. So I'm going to start off by putting one in the background to be able to highlight a little bit of detail, just like that. The first light was placed to highlight the fibers on the right side of the subject. Then I use a light panel with a grid attachment to add contrast from the same side without spilling the light all over the scene. Next, I added a third light to bring out the two bottom ferns and create separation. Finally, I placed a fourth light on the other side to softly lit the stems and tie everything together. Not sure if you can see it from that angle, but there's a lot of fly around here. Anyways, I think having a subject that big also helps you with placing the lighting and seeing the effect of lighting in real time, because when you have smaller subject, it's really hard to see the lighting. So if you're starting in macro photography, I think choosing a little bigger subject will definitely help you a lot in choosing, and practicing your lighting skills. So I'm gonna put one more light just to lit up the background a little bit more. So I'm ready to take the shot. I'm going to focus bracket this one, and I already took a test shot in order to see and know how many shots I'm going to need. And for this one, it's going to be 30 images. So I'm going to put my 2-second timer and focus on the very front part of the subject to make sure I have everything in focus. And I also took 2 different images, one with the natural lighting only, and the other one with the artificial lighting. So let me know in the comment which one you prefer and why. It's funny how often we think macro photography has to be about scale. But the more time I spend in nature, the more I realize it's about space. Space to experiment, to slow down, and to really notice what's in front of you. And sometimes, thinking just a little bigger makes everything feels more creative. So, shooting larger subjects today gave me a little bit more space to build better composition and play with lighting. But if I have one suggestion for you, is just go out there, have fun, think big, and most of all, keep moving.